Hey everybody, this is Jose Blasco here. We're gonna start in just 30 seconds. This is a sound check. Please go ahead and use those 30 seconds to type a quick hello on the chat box. That would be my clue for me to know that you hear me. And therefore, I would know we are ready to start. Wonderful, everybody. So reaching the top of the hour here. So I'm just gonna close everything we don't need and maximize the introduction slide so we can have an official beginning of the session and we can get started. Good to see you all. Very nice. Thanks for your messages, guys. So anyway, welcome to the session. My name is Jose Blasco. I will be your guide. Today it's 21st of August 2019 and we are getting together for short-term trading purposes. So the idea is to look for intraday trades, identify those opportunities, plan the trades properly, and execute them together if the market allows us to do that. If not, at least the intention would be to have a few trades planned for you to execute on your own later on whenever the market comes to your entry prices, okay? But anyway, before we start, as always, we have a disclaimer. So the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Traditive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. And this will be the introduction for the session, which is now properly, officially introduced. Okay, great. So let's go for it. We're gonna be dealing, like most of the times when we do intraday trading, we're gonna be dealing with futures markets and forex markets. Okay, when dealing with futures, normally we'll use lower time frames. When using forex, we'll use slightly higher time frames. Okay, so we'll be using a 15-minute time frame as a common time frame for the futures, and for the forex, we'll be looking at 60 minutes and 4 hour. Okay, as we always do as well. Okay, just a little recap here. Okay, so let's begin with the equity index markets, futures markets, and let's see what we have. Okay, so we'll start with the S&P. Okay, and what we can see here is that the current climate, okay, it's blue. And by the way, I am simply utilizing the flow chart. Okay, the process I'm going to follow to identify and plan those trades is simply the flow chart that we all know at this moment in time, isn't it? So I'm just gonna follow this process where step one is to check the climate. Okay, so we used to do checking the climate using a moving average and the DMI. Okay, since the last sharpening session that we did, I introduced everybody to use AutoClimate. AutoClimate is a free app. Okay, so starting from now on, I will always be using AutoClimate because it saves a little bit of time and makes it a little more visual to avoid mistakes. Okay, so what do we have? Well, we have a sapphire color dot. Okay, that means that we are dealing with an up market. The dot is thick, which means that the condition is confirmed. It's an up market that is confirmed. Okay, all of this, it's a good news for us to take the trade. Okay, the only thing we need to do is to find good UFOs on the edge time frames above. Okay, those three charts above are our edge time frames. Okay, share bars in the middle, tick charts on the right, and also the 2-minute time frame on the left. Okay, so we'll be looking at these particular entry UFOs, and we'll want those entry UFOs to line up the most as possible with the average, which is 29.21. That would be the intention for us to plan the trade with a greater probability of success as possible. Okay. Now, another thing that we added recently with the last sharpening session that we did is to also look at the stats. Okay. When looking at the stats of AutoClimate, we see that when the S&P is moving up, normally the amount of blue dots that we have in a normal situation is 7.2. Currently, the current market condition that we have is already using 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, as you can see with this figure up here. In other words, we still have at least 2 candles to go to reach a point where beyond that point, we would start thinking that maybe the market is overstretched and this particular market climate may not be sustainable, and therefore we may want to use the rules I share with you, where we would start still planning on the trade but with half of the size, or just simply pass on the trade until a new climate redevelops. Okay, so we are still okay. 5 out of 7 is still good. Actually, we take that figure and we always round it up, isn't it? So it would not be 7.2, it would be 8. So 5 out of 8 still give us 3 candles to go. Okay, so when looking at the 21, it seems that we do have UFOs falling into that price region. So certainly we have a trade to plan here with the S&P. Okay, so what do we have? Confirm climate. So what is the step 2 on the flow chart? Switch to the next common time frame, which is 60. Enable AutoUFOs to identify where the target should be. Okay, where the target should be. And the target, wow, it's a lot of room to go. That's very idealistic. Okay, we always love this. At the same time, we really don't like this as well, because when a trade is so idealistic, it's less likely to happen. And also, remember, today we are planning on intraday trades. For you to get to 3,000, we will need to see like a 75 points, and these normally will take more than 1 day. In the case of the S&P, we probably maybe take 3 days. Okay, not maybe 4. So really, it's nice to see the target so far away, but at the same time, it's not too realistic from the point of view of closing the trade today. Okay, so trade management techniques will apply to this trade, and probably you'll have to trail your stop, and probably you will end up exiting the trade somewhere in the middle between current price and 3,000. Okay, without reaching 3,000. Okay, so 3,000 to be precise will be 3,005.25. This is what we can see here when looking at the values for the red UFO. Okay, so I am now turning off AutoUFOs, going back to the 15-minute time frame. Okay, so I have the right picture I need, and we know what the target should be should we go long. Al, how are you, Al? Jose, when you say two candles, which chart are you referring? Oh, 2 candles, yes. I'm referring to the common time frame. Okay, so 2 more candles in the common time frame is another 30 minutes. Okay, because every candle is 15 minutes. Okay, so we still got like maybe 30 minutes left, actually 45 minutes left, from 5 to 8, sorry. We got still 3 candles, not 2, and that would be up to 45 minutes for this trade, which is time enough for us to do an intraday trade. So it's fine. Okay, it's fine, even though it's getting borderline to that number 8. Okay, anyway, so yeah, very good, and nice done by asking. It's important that all your questions are answered, so please never feel shy to ask a question. Okay, good. So we got the S&P, we got the climate, we got the target. So the next thing that we may want to do is to plan on the entry. Okay, so the entry, this particular UFO, has a beginning price at 29.21. That is nice, because if the S&P falls from 26 to 21, that's a 5-point drop, and that would bring the average a little slightly lower. So certainly the UFO will be engulfing that moving average, isn't it? So that's gonna be nice, because that would push potentially the price of the average down. The bottom part of this UFO is 29.19. So basically we have like a 2-point risk. Okay, and now the question is, when looking at 21 and 19, so we have this UFO here, which is pointing at the same values, 29.21, 29.19, 25, exactly the same values, funnily enough. But notice how this one is is overlapping the next UFO that begins at 29.25. So if we were to take this trade, we will need to make sure that our stop is located below 17. Okay, we want the stop on the white space, isn't it? So the stop would need to be located below 17, where 17, okay, happens to also be the bottom part of this UFO. Okay, so even though it looks like it's a different scale, okay, the chart on the left looks way bigger than the chart in the middle, we are looking at the same price points. Okay, so 21 to 17, we got 4 points of risk in this trade. And then when looking at the portion on the right, the only difference here is that this one goes all the way to 16.75. So really, our stop will need to be located below this one, which is going to be 16.5. Okay, 16.5. And the only thing I need to double check is when was the beginning price. Look at that. The beginning price of this one is 16.5. So look, we got huge amount of UFOs overlapping each other. And so what is probably happening here? Well, what's probably happening here is that we're going to end up putting a trade in place. And funnily enough, this exactly the same thing happened the other day. We're going to be putting a trade in place where, because of so many UFOs, grouped together, in one hand, you have a very high probability that you're going to get a bounce. But the problem is that your safety target is going to be so far away that then it really doesn't act as a safety target. It acts as a target. And the purpose for the safety target is to get out of the risk immediately. And of course, if the distance between entry and stop is so wide because so many UFOs are overlapping each other, then as you know, it's a problem. Okay, so I'm gonna stop looking at the S&P for now. Look at the NASDAQ to see if I can have a better, neater setup with less overlapping, because the more overlapping, the more the risk. Okay, and that's not ideal. Also, notice the NASDAQ also provides a better opportunity in the sense that we've been 3 candles into the same climate. And when this climate works as an average, it will take 11 candles of duration, where right now we have only consumed 3, right? So because of this reason too, I would certainly prefer to plan a trade on the NASDAQ instead of the S&P. I would have a higher chance to stay in the right direction for a longer time, okay? Let me take a look at Geneva. I am using 200 candles for auto climate, and you have 6.03 for uptrend. How many candles are you using? I'm using 500 Geneva. This is not a critical measurement, okay? If you're using 200 and you get 6, is fine. The idea of this statistical value is that, when you get in the trade, you just make sure you are not getting it too late in that climate, when the climate is getting closer to change, okay? And also remember that we also allow for another extra 50% of amount of candles. If you were to look at this value, which is 10.68, remember we round up to 11, right? So how much is half of 11 is 5.5. So 11 plus 5.5, that's 16.5, right? So you would allow yourself to enter trades even if the current climate has already been above 11 up to 16, okay? You would allow yourself to do that because, when a climate really goes, okay, notice how you get many more candles than those 10, okay? You got more than 10 blue dots here, isn't it? Now, this is not always the case, okay? And again, the purpose of these statistics is to avoid getting you in the trade too late where already most of the move has happened, okay? So that's the idea. So in your case, it shows 6. Of course, it's a different value. But the purpose would still be the same, because remember, you would do 6 plus half of 6, which is 9. So, basically we would be probably entering at the same price levels or passing on the trade. Okay, it's not going to be that different. If you want to be exactly like me, just use 500. Okay, and if you were to use more, it's even better, but then you're also using a little more computer power, which really, as I said, this is not critical. It's just to avoid a mistake. So the key is consistency, and therefore whatever settings that you use, just make sure you use the same settings all the time and you don't create variability because you change the settings. Okay, that's it. So anyway, so let's continue. So let's do the same. So the NASDAQ, we got confirmed climate, thick sapphire colored dot. So we're gonna move to the 60-minute time frame. We're gonna enable AutoUFOs, okay, maximize the window and look for what is the next red UFO, okay? And same as the S&P, there is huge amount of room for these markets to move, okay, which is nice to see, but again, it's not realistic in the case of an intraday trade, okay? And you would close the trade by the end of the day anyway, right? So make sure that you keep that in mind. Okay, so we have 79.87. That would be the final target. Okay, but again, I would be really shocked if we were to get there in one day, even though anything could happen. So I don't want to self-limit myself. Therefore, I will set this as a target, but I will also be trailing my stop. So probably be stopped out for a profit before the end of the day. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, so let's continue. So we have the target 79.87 for the NASDAQ. The average is currently pointing at 33. Okay, so 77.33. So what do we have around 33? Well, on the 2-minute time frame, we got nothing. On the share bar, we got nothing as well. And we do have something around 33 when looking at the tick bar. Okay, we do have something around 33 when looking at the tick bar. Okay, now what we also know is that if the S&P drops from 45 to 36 now, it was 33 a minute ago. So what's going to happen is that probably we're going to have this average bend and go down by a little bit. Okay, go down by a little bit. Okay, so a little bit, okay, below 33, maybe 31.75. Okay, 31.75. So I'm going to use this one as the entry. Okay, even though I will want to be monitoring this. You know what? And by the way, we just had, oh, that's why it's just flashing 36 now, because we just got an update on the 15-minute time frame. So now we got 4 sapphire color dots. Okay, it was 3 before. So now earlier it was 33 exactly. You can see the average was 33 and now it's 36. Okay, so being 36, okay, then I'm just gonna be relying on this one, 37.5. There is a little bit of overlapping with this one too. Okay, and the bottom part is 32.5, which is lower than 35.25. So that value would do. Okay, so my stop will be located at 32. So the question is, what's the top of this one? The top of this one is 31.75. Okay, so the top of this one is 31.75, and I'm fine with that because my stop is going to be right in the middle, located at 32, which is one tick above 75. Okay, so that's good. So that's my UFO, the one found on the tick bar, and we have a trade to plan, my friends. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bring the order bar. I'm using 2 contracts as I always do. Of course, in your case, make sure you do the right calculation for the size that you need to use in trade. I will use 2 contracts, okay? And let's go ahead and let's begin with the entry. Oh, actually, the entry, I said we're gonna use this one, and the top is 77.40, okay? 77.40 is the entry. The bottom part 32.25. Okay, so let's go ahead and use 77.40 as the entry. So entry long, 2 limit, 1 stop. So entry to contract 77.40. We're gonna have the stop located at 77.32. 77.32. Okay. Final target, we said it was going to be 79.87, which is really, really far away. Okay, and we have a safety target will be 77.48, because from 42 to 32 we got 8 points. So if I move my safety target 8 points above the entry, so that would classify as my safety target. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a few seconds for you to see it, so you can replicate what I'm doing. Of course, depending on your level of experience, I would expect that you either use real money or paper money. That's gonna be your choice, as well as the size, okay? How many contracts you use, that would also be your choice, okay? But the parameters when it comes to the prices for you to get in and out, okay, I'm allowing you to take a peek at my parameters, okay, by just leaving the screen up a few more seconds before I click place order, okay? Look who just joined us. How are you, Bojan? A pleasure to see you from sunny Greece. You are amazing, my friend. You know, then people will not understand that trading is a lifestyle, isn't it? You are in a beautiful place and you cannot stop being connected with the market, isn't it? We're all the same. We love it. Jose, do you ever use a higher UFO than the 9 MA in a strong uptrend? Well, then you would be invalidating the process, right? So when you look at the flow chart, okay, the flow charts define exactly what we do, and what you just said, it's not defined in any of those boxes. Is that making sense? So you would be using a different methodology, which I'm not saying is wrong, because if you still have a defined climate and you also have a defined UFO, so you have some probabilities in your favor, okay? But you have more probabilities in your favor by making sure that your UFO lines up with the average. Okay, let me place the order just in case we get a fill. Okay, so I have the order in the system right here. Here we go. Okay, wait a minute. Let me have done a little mistake. No, it's all good. Yes, perfect. Yes, all good. So yeah, so we have the trade ready. Okay, we're just waiting for the trade to give us a fill. Again, and the reason why I was saying that, Al, is because remember the beauty of combining the UFO with the moving average is that the moving average is used by computers to trade based on those algos, and therefore the moving average represents potentially a new addition of unfilled orders that are not in the market yet. So the ones that we see in green color, those are unfilled orders that already exist. But the ones that we don't see yet are the ones that are not in the market yet. And the moving average represents that. It's a potential attraction for new buy unfilled orders to be added. So that's why you have a higher probability if you combine the UFO with the moving average. Okay, but if you were to perform a different methodology, that would be fine. I'm just saying that probably you would have results that are a little less probable, but you may still do a good job with that. Okay, so that would be your choice there. Okay, my answer to your question is I don't do it. Okay, but it could certainly be your choice, and it will not be crazy. It would just be a little less probability, okay? So, Bojan, exactly, time to scratch the itch. We love it. Good, understood, perfect. Okay, so we have now the NASDAQ, okay? It's coming to our entry. Our entry is located at 40, as you can see. We are 3 points away. It'd be nice to see the NASDAQ giving us a little bit of a push and come to our entry here at 77.40. That would be very nice. So we can begin the day with a trade. You've heard me say a million times, I love those trades taken right before the market opens, okay, where we reach safety target right at the open or even before the market opens. So then we are in a risk-free trade to enjoy whatever happens, okay, and I love that, okay. But again, there are many other opportunities that will arise during the day, for sure, like every day, but those always put a little smile on my face, okay, and so I'm looking for a fill before the market opens in 8 minutes. Okay, that would be great. Anyway, guys, please share with me how is it going on your side. Did you have time to replicate what I was doing? Were you able to input this trade in your accounts? Even if it's paper money, it's fine. I just want to know if I went too fast or too slow, or you guys were able to follow this properly. Please let me know. And since we are waiting, I'm just gonna look at the S&P to see if anything's different. So we got 22, yeah, so 22, yeah, so we still have the same situation with overlapping UFOs on the S&P. Yeah, Bojan is in, Hélène, you're in as well, Al Tong also have it, love it, perfect. Geneva as well. Very good, guys. Perfect. Teamwork. I love this. Okay, I love this. So, and again, just always keep in mind, okay, that of course, it is my role, if you wish, to lead the session. But if I ever go too fast or anything, just make sure you speak up, okay, and use the chat box to comment, so I can help you better, okay. So anyway, in the meantime, as we're waiting for this to happen, okay, so you can see price went there, touched the red UFO, started falling. Hopefully this will help for price to go down to the 77.40. In the meantime, we'll wait patiently. I see as well Abhilash is in as well. Very good. Love it. Teamwork. Love it. So in the meantime, as I was saying, I'm just going to open a trading view as well. So I'm going to get ready. Trading view. So we'll be looking at some Forex trades as well. Here we go, a little bit of a push. We're 1.75 away from entry. So hopefully the NASDAQ will give us a fill. Come on, NASDAQ, be nice to us. That would be nice and very appreciated. I mean, this is not the first time that you hear me talk to the market, isn't it? So hopefully no one is shocked and believe that something happened to Jose and Jose is crazy. That's the normal thing. I always have conversations with the market. And I believe some of you do too, isn't it? mean, this is what you do, isn't it, with the members of your family that you appreciate. You have conversations with them, right? And the market is a member of our family as well. So it's a nice way to kind of keep a good level of positive energy for yourself while you're doing your job as a trader and planning your trades. Okay, so again, at least it works for me. Some of you may be laughing, maybe, but for me, it creates a good dose of positive energy, which I appreciate. Okay, so again, I have TradingView here ready. Okay, we are very, very close to get a feel. So, I'm a little undecided on what to do, to begin with the Forex planning or just wait to see if we get filled, because I just want to make sure that when the fill takes place, because some of you are mimicking the trade, you're gonna, you will all be aware at the same time. So really, we are 1.5 points away from entry. It's very, very close. We should get filled. I mean, there is not much in between the current price and our entry for us not to get filled. So I would expect this to happen at any moment in time. Even though right before the open, sometimes we do experience that little bit of a slowdown because everybody around the world is just like us waiting for the market open. Okay, so that has that implies many less people are clicking the button. Okay, anyway, so let's begin with some trades. Okay, so with the Forex. Okay, so you can see on the left I got the 21-minute and the 240. So this is going to be one type of setup that we'll use for Forex for our 21. And then on the left, I also have the 8-minute and the 60. Okay, so two different setups when it comes to the time frames that are being used. Okay, but the model, the process, the flow chart, everything is going to be the same for us to identify those trades. Okay, so let me see the NASDAQ 1.25 points away. Come on, NASDAQ, just give us a feel right before the open. That would be very nice of you. We got 3 minutes and a half before the market open. So I think that, given the distance, even though the market moves slow at this time, I would say we should find ourselves in the trade right before the market opens. Okay, I would say, again, I don't have a crystal ball. We have the order in. That's the most we can do. Okay, so anyway, so let's begin looking at Forex. Okay, I'm gonna start with the majors. Okay, majors are more liquid. Okay, and normally it's a good starting point. Okay, so what do we have with the majors? Okay, so starting with the Australian dollar. So you can see that the prior candle had a close above the average in the 60-minute time frame. DMI being blue color confirms the climate, and therefore we are ready to plan on long trades. The current average price for the Australian dollar, as you can see here, is 67.89. Okay, so 67.89 is exactly the price of this green UFO that we have right here. That certainly qualifies as a good candidate for us to take the trade. So it seems that the first chart that we are looking at is looking good to plan a trade on the Australian dollar. So now, of course, we need to look at the target, which may or may not validate or invalidate the trade. Mr. Ed, to join the Telegram group, you would want to simply send an email to us, reach@tradewithufos.com, and then we would go ahead and send you the link so you can easily connect with the Telegram group. Okay.
Order filled.
Here we go. We just got filled. Wonderful. Perfect. And the market is about to open now in a minute and a half. Okay, so it's great. Perfect. We are in right before the open, which is, as you know, an action I like very much, because if I'm wrong, I'll know very quickly I'm wrong, be stopped out very quickly, and be ready to plan new trades. If I'm right, I'll get to safety target in no time, and from there, on my way to the final target if everything works according per plan. Okay, so at the moment we're having a little bit of a bounce here. Okay, just like a couple of points at this moment in time. UFOs in action, but really we need to see the open that will create a much better impact. Okay, Maka, how are you? Nice to see you, Maka. Talking about the Telegram group and talking about Maka, a very nice message that you shared with us in the group. Okay, I'm very, very happy to see that, Maka. Congrats on the hard work I'm sure you have put in place to achieve those results. Okay, so super congratulations to you, Maka. Wayne, very nice to see you, Wayne. Could you please tell me how I could get the manual for the auto climate rules? Yes. Well, if that's okay, Wayne, since the market is about to open, let's go ahead and go through the market open, and later I will show you where you can get the user guide. Okay? Absolutely. So let's see. Market is gonna open in just a few seconds. Okay, yeah, 20 seconds from now, the market will open. Again, we're in, since the climate is up, we have a higher probability for a push to the upside than a push to the downside. Since we got green UFOs below, we also have a greater probability for a push to the upside than the downside. But again, at the market open, it's a critical time where those institutions often add orders, remove orders, okay? And you never know what's gonna happen until it happens, okay? So here we go. The market is now picking up just a little bit of volatility, little fight there, very sideways trading at this moment in time. And let's see if we're gonna reach that safety target. I would say we should. Okay, here we go. Let's go, little more, half a point. Come on, NASDAQ. That's it. Safety target hit. We cannot lose in this trade anymore. Congrats to you guys if you are with me on the trade. And now we are applying risk management mode, okay? A new UFO just formed here, okay? The bottom part of this UFO is 39. And this means that we're gonna have to grab our stopping point, and we're gonna move it right below 39. Okay, right here. Okay, so now not only we have reached the safety target, okay, sorry for that, not only we have reached the safety target, but also given the fact that a new UFO form and we move the stop higher, if we were to be stopped out, this trade is not only a break even, this trade is now guaranteed as a profit. Okay, and of course, if this UFO works according to plan, especially given the climate, then the market would move up, potentially for more UFOs. And if that's the case, then we'll be in the trade. Okay, it's not looking like this is the case. Okay, so again, this is the volatility that we find right at the market open. It's important to deal with it the way I did, because you know you will see price go up, you will see price go down, up and down, and it could very easily trigger your emotions and have you stay in a trade for too long when it was actually time to get out. Okay, so good one. Okay, if you followed my instructions here, we ended up with the first execution provided. Okay, so we bought at 40, we sold at 48.25. Okay, so we made 8.25, and then we lost half a point, so which means that we made 7.75 points in this trade, which times 2, it's like $150. Okay, so again, this is not the trade of the year, but it's a good beginning given the fact that at the beginning the market is not really pushing in any clear direction. It's a pretty static beginning part of the day, but we managed to collect a profit, and we are now getting ready for the second trade of the day. Okay, so second trade of the day. Okay, let's begin with the S&P. What do we have? 29.22. It's the average. The climate is still confirmed. Careful now, because we have 7 out of 7.2. So remember, you know, if we get filled in this candle is fine. If we get filled on the next 15 minutes, then we will need to reduce the size of the trade by half, okay? Because we are now getting into the hopeful type of trade instead of the sensible type of trade from a point of view of how long the climate is still likely to continue lasting, okay? So at the moment we are right there between hopeful and sensible, so it's still fine. And the average being 22, we are looking for UFOs around 22, and the fact is that we got none. Okay, so no UFOs on the S&P. What about the NASDAQ? The NASDAQ has the same setup. Okay, we got blue dot, confirmed climate. The climate is confirmed. All good. 35 is the average, but we have no UFOs at this price level. So no trade for now on the NASDAQ and the S&P. Okay, and notice how nice it has been to not only plan the trade the way we did, but also to manage the trade the way we did. Okay, because we ended up exiting the trade for $150 of profit, which again, it's not super amazing, but it's nice given the fact that the market is now clearly moving in the opposite direction and may have a change of climate, okay? Which, by the way, based on the S&P, would not be surprised. It would not be surprising given the amount of candles that have already been part of that climate, okay? So I'll come back to the S&P and the NASDAQ in a few minutes. Let's call it 11 minutes, which is going to be the next close on the 15-minute time frame. So we'll be able to assess if we had a change of climate or not. And in the meantime, I'm just going to move into the world of the currencies and complete the trade we were doing with the Australian dollar. Quick question here before. Yeah, Bojan, fastest $150 you make. Yes, that's true. Yeah, on the beach. Nice one. Bojan, confidence goes sky high when I move my stop and I see Jose go over the same exact steps a few seconds later due to the delay of YouTube. Yes, that's great. That's great. And the reason why this is happening as well is because we have a flow chart. We have a process. Okay, so the only thing that we need, to do a good job is to be disciplined. Okay, which of course that in the end falls into each of us individually. Okay, hopefully, of course, the training that we do together helps as a good example that helps you to build not only the skill but also the confidence. Okay, but in the end, it's imperative. Okay, imperative that you guys act in a disciplined manner to produce those results. Okay, very good, guys. So let's move back to Forex. Okay, so we have the currencies. So let's go for it. Okay, so we are looking at the first one. That was the Australian dollar. We said the Australian dollar has a confirmed climate. So the second step would be to find the target in the next common time frame, which is 4 hours. Okay, so loading the 4-hour time frame for the Australian dollar. Okay, and we can see here that the next common time frame in the case of the Australian dollar is giving us a target located at 0.6887. Okay, so we're talking about, let's call it roughly 100 pips. Okay, which is a nice move, especially given the fact that we would be planning this trade out of an 8-minute time frame, which is likely going to produce a very reduced risk in exchange for a pretty powerful amount of reward. Again, every time I see those very nice rewards, it's not like I am a pessimistic person or anything like that. Actually, it's the complete opposite. But also, we want to be realistic as traders. Okay, it could, when you see these amazing targets very far away, it could trigger your greed and make you feel it's realistic. And in one hand, it's realistic, but in the other hand, the further away the target is, the longer it's gonna take, and the longer it's gonna take to get there, the more external forces, such as news or anything, could impact the markets in a way where new orders are added or cancelled, either in your direction or in opposite direction, and therefore, the further your target is, the less likely it is that you will reach that target. Therefore, as we just saw on the NASDAQ, you need to be applying trade management techniques to try to maximize the outcome of the trade while you give the trade an opportunity to progress and expand and reach what it needs to reach. Okay. So anyway, so we have everything we need here with the Aussie dollar. So I think, I hit the wrong button. So I think that we just need to go ahead and type it on the screen. Okay. So we would have a final target. Okay. In the case of the NASDAQ, that would be located, I just said it, in the case of the Australian dollar, I think I said the NASDAQ by mistake, so it would be 0.6887, that would be the final target. Then somewhere in the middle, we're gonna have a safety target, which I will need to calculate in a minute as I define the entry and the stop. The entry is gonna be a long entry, okay, which is gonna be 0.6790. Okay, 0.6790, but remember, because it's a buy order, we add 2, so it's going to be 92. And then the stop, okay, the stop loss, which is going to be right below, that one will be located at 0.6787. But remember, because it's a stop, we're going to add 5, okay, or in this case, subtract 5, and therefore it's going to be 82. So 82 to 92 is 10 pips, okay, and that means that the safety target would be located at 0.6802. That would be the location for the safety target, okay, and this would be your trade. Okay, this would be your trade. And you can go ahead and take a screenshot or make a note for yourself. And I will reset the screen and go for the next trade in just a few seconds. Okay, I believe that should be fine. So resetting the screen, quick look at the equities before I keep going with the currency. So what do we have? Interesting. The NASDAQ is giving us a new opportunity, I believe here. We got 36 to 39. The average is 37. I'm just a little concerned. Because we are 10 points away from the entry. If the NASDAQ falls to this entry, which is lining up with the average right now, my average will go down. And if the average goes down by a little bit, that 37 may become 35, and 35 would be below this point. So I'm just a little concerned, and therefore I'm gonna have to watch this manually and wait until the value of the NASDAQ comes closer to the green UFO. Beautiful emerald color UFO, and when that happens I will be able to confirm if this is a trade to be taken or not. Okay, right now not sure yet. So what about the S&P? Did we have the same type of UFO form? It doesn't seem like that, so still pointing at 22. The bottom part it's 2175. Yeah, so no, we don't have anything lining up with the S&P. If any, the NASDAQ, but we need to watch it for when price comes closer to the UFO, okay? So a little bit of a teaser, this market, okay? It was pushing very hard to the downside, and now it's really pushing hard to the upside again. Okay, so again, let's control our human emotions. Let's keep it cool, and let's follow the flow chart. So when an opportunity arises, we'll take it. If it doesn't matter if it's moving quick or slow. We just don't care because it's not meeting our rules, so it's simply not interesting to us. Okay, good. So anyway, so back to Forex. So I want to take a look at the euro. So the euro is challenging the average right now, so we'll forget about the euro. The pound, the Great British Pound, we have a contradiction. Close is below, but DMI it's sapphire color. So we have a contradiction. Kiwi, okay, Kiwi closes above, DMI is sapphire color as well. So that certainly makes sense. The average is 64.10, and we have a green UFO here located at 64.10. Okay, now here we got a huge collection of UFOs on top of each other. So we need to package all of these, okay? And the only way to do this properly would be if we had a target which is pretty far away, similar to the Australian dollar. If we have a target which is far away, then we can do it. If the target is too close, then we cannot. Okay, so we are talking about, yeah, that target is 20 pips away from current price 34.13 to 64.39. That's like, let's call it like 20 something pips away in the 4-hour time frame. This obviously does not qualify as a far away target, and therefore, since I already got a trade identified on the Australian dollar, I will pass on the trade on the Kiwi, because on top of that, those two trades would be correlated. If you were to take them both, okay, you would need to go with half the size for each, because the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar, they often move in tandem, being Asian currencies in the same region, okay? So Canadian dollar, very clear push to the downside, confirmed with the DMI being ruby color. So average 132.90 and 132.90. Actually, well, yeah, we got this one. Okay, this one, but I will let this one for you to watch, if that's okay, guys, because even though the current value, it's certainly, I just hit the wrong one, so let me disable and re-enable. Here we go. So notice how 132.91, it's lining up well with the average 132.90. Okay, that's fine, but remember, we are very far away from the average. When the Canadian dollar moves up, that will produce a little bit of bending on the average that may be higher than 90, maybe 33 something. So maybe your entry will be the next one actually. So this is something for you to watch, okay? And probably 1 hour, 2 hours from now, you'll have an answer to when it comes to which UFO to use. Right now, I could not predict that with precision, and predicting is not our job. Therefore, I would let you for you to watch it. So when you have the evidence, you know what to do, okay? Swiss franc pushing up, clearly pushing up. DMI confirms it. Current average 97.99. So 97.99. Yeah. So basically, you would be dealing with this UFO from 90 to 85, and this is 99. And you know, this is a similar situation compared to the Canadian dollar, where if the US dollar Swiss franc falls down and gets to your entry, the average will kind of get flattened, and instead of 99, it may become, you know, 90. And if that's the case, perfect entry. And I would envision that this is probably the case, okay? But at the same time, you will need to watch it just in case there is too much bending on the average, and then the average ends up below 85, then I would not be too happy with that, okay? So let's go ahead and plan the trade on the US dollar Swiss franc. In this case, it's easier because the next UFO is further away, where the Canadian dollar got multiple UFOs almost overlapping each other. So I was more undecided on which one would be the one. Here is pretty clear because there, you know, from 85 to 80, you got 5 pips, which in the world of the US dollar Swiss franc, which is not too volatile, 5 pips is, you know, some distance, okay? So I'm gonna focus on the one above, okay? And by the way, because of how I'm gonna set the stop, you know, my price is gonna be below that UFO anyway. So somehow, you know, I have a good peace of mind in this trade. So the key would be to look at the target. So I'm moving to a 4-hour time frame in this confirmed climate. Okay, and it seems that the target would be located at 98.37. So again, we're talking about like 40 pips of movement. And again, could we plan the trade? Yes. Am I gonna plan it? No. Why? Because there are other opportunities out there that are better opportunities. We got many currencies, and there is no need for us to plan a trade to risk 20 or 30 pips just to make 20 or 30 pips. You know, I don't see it worth it, even though you could from a probability point of view. And if you only had one currency, then we would do that. But because there are more, then I will go ahead and look at another one, okay? And the yen has a close below the average, okay? But the DMI is pointing at a sapphire blue color, and therefore we have a contradiction. Therefore, we will not deal with that one, okay? So in this collection of time frames, 8 and 60, we found a valid opportunity with the Australian dollar, okay? And now I want to run back to the equities because 2 minutes ago we got a new update on the closing prices of the average, okay, which is now pointing at 44. 44 certainly falling into this UFO, okay, certainly falling into this UFO, in the middle of this UFO that goes from 48 to 40 with the overlap all the way to 36, okay? So if you were to take this trade, so we are talking about like 12 or 13 points of risk. 36, wait a minute, actually is much more because this UFO also overlaps, and this one gets all the way to 31. Yeah, all the way to 31, and that overlaps with this one that goes all the way to 26, because the top of this one is going to be 31.75, which falls into the one on the left. So again, we have the same problem with the NASDAQ that we earlier had with the S&P, where there are too many overlapping UFOs, making the risk too wide. Okay, so maybe you trade a different type of different time frames. Okay, instead of doing 15 and the edge time frames I'm using, you're using 5 as a common time frame, and the time frames that you use are much tinier, and that would be valid. But with the set of time frames I'm using, I am not comfortable, okay, to do this trade. And yeah, same thing here. Yeah, this very, very fat UFO that just formed here on the left, it's killing me, okay? This UFO by himself is already taking like 5 points of risk, ending at 21, Yeah, so it's a shame because this UFO is certainly overlapping the average, okay? And this could be the time to get into a trade, and we could certainly see a bounce. But being so wide, we're gonna manage our risk and pass on the trade, okay? So no trade with the NASDAQ and the S&P for the next 15 minutes, okay, guys? Because the distance to the safety target would be too far. And again, it's not like the trade is not valid. It's just that then the safety target doesn't act as a safety target. It acts as a target, right? And that's not the plan. The plan is to remove the risk of the trade very quickly, the way we did before, right at the open when you saw what happened, okay? That's the idea. So anyway, so let's continue. Let's continue with the Forex. Okay, we have 10 more minutes to go, so I'm sure we can find a few more trades. So switching now to 21,240, okay, changing time frames, looking for other types of trades, and a look at the same currencies. Let's begin with Australian dollar. We have 89 to 85. Actually, it's quite interesting how we have the same entry points both in the 60 and the 8. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave the Australian dollar alone. So let's look at the euro. Royce, I'm reading your questions. Can we use a climate chart to set up the trade? You mean to use the common time frame with UFOs on the common time frame, which is the 15-minute time frame? I'm not sure if this is your question. So yeah, so with the euro we have a contradiction above, and then we got ruby color contradiction. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, Royce, so the answer to your question is that you could, because again, you have a climate and you have a UFO, so you put the two together, and you know you certainly have certain level of probabilities in your favor, isn't it? So you could. But again, why is it that in the session we do it differently? Why do we use edge timeframes? Okay. Well, again, I would not have time to explain that, but I would certainly would like to point at which are the videos that you should be watching to clarify this question, because your question is quite critical. Even though you can do it the way you just said, we call the edge timeframes edge for a reason. Okay, so in our main YouTube page, by the way, since we're in the YouTube page, I always forget to ask you guys, please go ahead and click on that beautiful thumbs up. And also, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, this is your time to subscribe, and also click on the little bell so you get real-time notifications, okay? But anyway, coming back to your question, when you look at the playlist, there is a playlist here called Sharpening. So if you click view the fuel playlist, view the complete playlist, okay, and you scroll down, you will find 4 sessions, Sharpening intraday 1, 2, 3, and 4, which those 4 sessions explain the rationale behind everything that we do when it comes to how do we stack odds in our favor when planning entries. So Royce, if you haven't watched those videos, I would strongly recommend you to go ahead and watch them, because they will make a difference in your understanding when it comes to why do we do what we do the way we do, and also it will play an important role on developing your confidence, because we adults, it's not like kids. Kids, you tell the kids what to do and assuming they will obey, which may be the case or not. So they would just do it just because you're an adult. But for adults, for you to do something, you gotta understand why. And the moment you understand why, this automatically hits your confidence, right? So that's why instead of giving you a short explanation now, which today is not the day, but also instead of a short explanation, I would like you to get the whole explanation, because it will help you very much with your confidence level as well, okay? So pound, we have a contradiction, just like the euro. The Kiwi, same situation as the Australian dollar, okay? But the average is not lining up with any entry, okay? So we're gonna pass on the Kiwi. US dollar, Canadian dollar, same situation as prior time frame. US dollar, Swiss franc, let me see, maybe looking better on this time frame. So we have a close above with a confirmed DMI. Current average is 97.98. If you're wondering where I see that figure, okay, I see it right there. Okay, you look at the EMA and you can see it here. Okay, so 97.98. So 97.98, it's falling into this UFO, and we have two UFOs next to each other with enough space in between. So if I place my stop 5 pips below, I don't get to overlap with the next UFO. So that's looking nice. I'm liking this very much. But again, let's follow the process, okay? And we don't fall in love with financial products. Let's go ahead and follow the process by switching on AutoUFOs, move to the next common time frame, which is daily, to see how much room I have for this currency to move, which is 98.82. And you know what? That's not bad. I think that we do have an opportunity here with the Swiss franc. We have room from current price to 98.82. Actually, the entry price would be a little below, which is 98. So we're talking about like an 80 pip move. That's pretty okay, I would say. Okay, and it all depends on how much money you would risk. Okay, what's the distance from entry to stop and things like that. So let's continue planning the trade to see if everything makes sense, which I believe it does. Okay, but let's confirm by writing it on the screen. Okay, so final target, like we had earlier on the Australian dollar, is above, and in this case is 0.9882. Okay, safety target will be somewhere in the middle. I will calculate that later on. The long entry, okay, long entry, we said is going to be 0.9790, actually it's 98, okay? But remember, because it's a buy order, we need to add 2, so it would be 98.02, and then the stop loss, okay, that one would be located at 0.9790, and then we need to lower that stop by 5 pips, okay, which is gonna make it 85. So from 85 to 02, okay, from 85 to 02, we got 17 pips of risk, which means that I need to place my safety target 17 pips above, and that would be 98.19. Okay, so my friends, the trade is valid, as you can see, and this is your time to make a note, take a screenshot, or both, so you can input those parameters in your trading platform with whatever broker you trade Forex with, and enjoy the ride, because you have everything under control, profit taking as well as management of risk with a stop loss. Okay, seems that everybody's okay. Good. Okay, so another look to the equities. What's happening to the futures? So what do we have? Same, everything, nothing has changed on the NASDAQ. And same everything. Oh, actually, yeah, the very big fat UFO is gone on the S&P chart. Okay, that one is gone. So it's good, because now we only need a new one to form. And if a new one forms, I mean, definitely the volatility in the market now is much less than before. So odds are that the price ranges and therefore the depth of the UFO would also be less. As you know, the depth of the UFO impacts the risk, okay? So we want those UFOs to not to be too fat, okay? Looking good for hopefully in a few minutes from now to have a trade ready to be executed. So in the meantime, let's look at the yen in this configuration, 240.21. And what do we have? So we have a confirmed climate here, but we are now slightly below the average, and there is no green UFO until much lower. So no trade on the yen. So what I'm gonna do is switch to miners, okay? Miners that are still quite liquid, okay? So I'll start with the Aussie CAD. And this is a contradiction. I'm just gonna fly, okay guys? I'm just gonna fly like when I do it for myself. Okay, so here we got something, average 66.48, no, 48 is in the middle of nowhere, so, you know, this one is to be watched. It could be a valid one. It certainly looks good, but if the Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss franc falls, it will bend the average to go down a little bit, and therefore it may line up very well with this green UFO located at 43. So this is for you to watch, so make a note for yourself to watch Australian dollar Swiss franc 4 hour 21 minutes looking at the Aussie yen, what do we have? Confirm climate, it's all good. 21, no, we're not gonna do that. Aussie, Swiss, Aussie, Kiwi, confirm climate. The average 105.80. 105.80 is somewhere in here, my friends. We do have a trade. So we have a trade. Those two UFOs that overlap each other are valid for an entry. The only thing we need to check is, do we have a proper target? So I'll do that by switching to, okay, switch to the next common time frame, which is daily. Let's see, where is my target? Where are you, target? Okay, I got my, here we go. Let me move this out of the way. So the target will be, oh yeah, wow, that one looks very, very nice. Okay, again, very, very nice, but remember, the further away the target is, the less likely that we get there. So trade management is imperative, okay? Please don't, again, envision that next thing you know, this trade is gonna make you multimillionaire and that's it. Okay, guys, let's follow the plan all the time, okay? Because that's actually how you produce that wealth, okay, guys? So anyway, so going back to 4-hour time frame, I will disable AutoUFOs. We don't need it now. Here we go. So what do we have? Another opportunity to go long. Okay, so I'll make another note. So final target will be 1.0798. Safety target, we will calculate that in the middle. It's going to be somewhere in a moment. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. The long entry, it's going to be 1.0583, as you can see on the upper left. Of course, because it's a buy order, we have 2, so it's going to be 85. And then the stop loss, which is going to be below, is going to be 1.0567. But because it's a stop, we subtract 2, which is 62. Okay, so from 62 to 85, we have 23 pips. 23 pips would mean that our target would need to be 23 pips above 85. Okay, so that means it's gonna be 106.08 if I am not mistaken. Okay, so that would be the trade, and this is your time for a screenshot. And also, as you are done with the screenshot, please just type something on the chat box so I know you are with me. You've been quiet for a long time, and maybe it's because I'm moving a little faster now, so you're just keeping up with me. But also, I want to make sure that you're with me and everybody's connected, and we are still doing teamwork. So please type anything on the chat box, just so I know you are following. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much, Dehide. Okay. So that's it. So we'll stop here with the currencies. Okay. Last look at the equities in case we have something new. So we have a new update pointing at 24. Okay. 24. Well, no UFOs at 24. Okay. So with the S&P, we got nothing at the moment. But remember, any UFO can be formed at any moment in time, so keep watching it. The value for the new average in the NASDAQ is 46. So again, we have the same problem of overlapping UFOs that we had before. So nothing has changed. So you're going to have to wait maybe 1 or 2 candles later in the 15-minute time frame. You will have either a new climate defined or new UFOs that form at the right price. And then you will be able to then enter the trade with all the rules lining up. Okay, guys? So in the meantime, today we got 1 trade executed on the NASDAQ, and good job, guys, by following me and executing it together. And we also have 3 trades for you to practice the methodology and make a few bucks, isn't it? With the Aussie dollar, the Swiss franc, and also the Aussie New Zealand dollar, okay? Anyway, let me see. Brian, how are you, my friend? Just missed the trade by 1 pip. Yeah, using different calibration setting. Well, that's part of trading, you know, but again, that should reinforce everybody. If this happens to any of you guys, this should reinforce your confidence level of doing a job well done, confidence level when it comes to understanding the power of climate, right? Because if you miss the trade by 1 pip, it's because the climate was pushing it, okay? So yeah. Maka, do you enter trades before major news events? It depends on the time frames. If it's a very high time frame, I simply don't care. If it's a very, very low time frame and it's a very, very key event, then I prefer to let the event happen, because it's not about the volatility created for the event. It's about the fact that some orders may be canceled out of the result of that event, that news. And if the orders are canceled, then your UFO will fail. So if I had entered the trade prior to the event and I got to my safety target prior to the event, just like I like to do prior when the market opens, then I'll be happy to stay in the trade through the news. But if I haven't got filled before the news, I'd rather cancel my order, let the news happen, let whatever happens, and new UFOs form, reconfirm the climate, and then go in. Okay, that would be a much higher probability way on how to enter the trade. And by the way, before we go, guys, a quick question. Since Brian is with us as well. A quick question and also statements all together. Guys, we are conducting since last week. You can see it here in our YouTube channel. We are conducting vitamin T sessions. Okay, vitamin T. Of course, the T is for traders. Okay, so that this is the vitamin you have to take every day. You have to take those vitamin pills every day for you to be a good trader and to be in a good condition to be a good trader. And so those sessions are being conducted by Brian. They are short sessions, even though you see 30 minutes here. Those sessions are more like 15 to 20 minutes. Of course, you have the initial countdown and stuff that, we, by the way, are planning to cleaning up a little bit those videos. So those videos don't have anything before or after. So you have exactly the content, okay? And you will see that soon. But also know that those sessions are, as you can see, recorded on our YouTube channel, but also those sessions are conducted live. So you can anytime join Brian in those sessions, okay? And if you're not doing it, you should, because again, repetition creates the good habits, isn't it? And for example, we have one later today at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. And some of those sessions will be trading basics, some of the sessions are trading view, others will be trade station, other will be trading concepts or trading methods. So it will be very specific sessions, straight to specific points that, if you keep consuming in a regular basis, it will keep reminding you of what to do, keep reminding you of what not to do. If you already know what to do, and if you don't know what to do yet, or you are still learning how to trade, then you would just keep growing by having this regular intake of vitamin T. Okay, so Brian is your guy. I'm around as well in those sessions, but he's leading it, and I strongly recommend everybody, if you're watching this live or recorded, no matter what, to make sure that you are plugged in and you don't miss those vitamin T sessions, okay? Very good reminder. Thank you, D-Hyde. I forgot, Wayne, to show you where to get the video. So if you get into TradeStationTradingAppStore.com, sorry, not the video, the user guide for AutoClimate. So if you get in here and you type the name of our company that all of you know is Tradictive with double D, so you get to see the apps that we have placed in the App Store, okay? And once you are here, you have the AutoClimate, okay? So if you click on AutoClimate, okay, you get to see more information about the app. And here on the right, you have supporting documents. From here, you can click and download the PDF file. By the way, you can also send an email to us and we'll send it to you. But here is where you can find it, okay? So I think it's a good idea that you guys pick it from here, okay? So anyway, yes, that's all for today, my friends. Super pleasure to have joined you today. Talking about sessions. Tomorrow, I will join you too for longer term trading, and Friday again for more longer term trading, okay? Because we have a session to catch up with from last week. So we'll be doing 2 longer term sessions this week on Thursday and Friday. My friends, super pleasure as always. Keep up the good work. It really makes me very happy to see how you guys are working very well all together as a team, as I say. It makes me very, very happy to also see that some of you in a regular basis via emails, via Telegram group, or any other ways, you are getting back to us and reporting that your trading is changing, is improving, you're getting there. So, of course, hopefully we have something to do, and if we can help, we are so glad. But definitely you are the one to congratulate, and because it takes hard work and discipline to get there. So keep up the good work, my friends. This is how we get where we need to be. Okay, you are a pleasure to get together with. See you again tomorrow, my friends. Bye bye, everyone.